Everybody, this is Brad Arrington down on Jennifer B, my Back Cove 37, and I thought I'd give you a look at my latest toy that I put on the boat, and that would be this, my new Sionyx Nightwave night vision camera. So let's go take a look. Okay, so this is my Sionyx Nightwave low light night vision camera that I've got installed on the top of Jennifer B. It's kind of for reference where it is. I've got the front of the boat here, and then if we zoom in a little bit, you can see I've got it mounted up between the brow and the sunroof window. And just for some sense of how big this thing is, you can see my hand. It's fairly compact. It's about 4 inches in diameter. So I do have this mounted up here instead of up on my mast there where I could put it. And that's because this is a fixed focal length camera. It will tilt this way once you've got it installed. It will not rotate this way. It'll manually tilt. But with a fixed focal length camera, if I put it up there, I would see a whole lot of the roof and then of the bow up there. So I installed it here to minimize the amount of from the boat I would see and maximize the view at the front from the camera. So installation of the camera on top of the roof was relatively straightforward for the viewpoint of just mounting the camera up here. I figured out where underneath here, I'll show you that in a bit, where that was going to come through and measured back, and then drill the hole straight down, big enough for the cable. And then it comes with a template where you can drill the mounting holes and that kind of thing. One area I did have a problem with was a leak on the inside. And Sionyx does not tell you to put any kind of sealant around the base here. But what I found was happening was I was getting a leak underneath the base here, and as soon as I put a bead of sealant around here, my leak stopped. So I would suggest to anybody else that has a nice interior of your boat, put some sealant around the base here. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward to mount it on top, and I'll show you a little bit about what I had to do to mount it on the inside. Yeah, here we are on the inside of Jennifer B, and where the Sionyx is mounted is right here. I drilled I positioned it so it would come right down in the middle of this piece here. And if you see some of this discoloration here, this is from where I had that leak and water was coming through. And it did damage my panel a little bit, but not enough for me to replace. Now the real challenge of installing the Nightwave on a Back Cove 37 was not actually mounting the camera itself, it was running the wiring. So the way the Back Cove 37 is designed is that there's not really a good way to route the wiring from up here where the camera is mounted over to the helm. If I went back along here, there's not a straight path. There is a chase right in here where the handrails are, but it gets blocked by the sunroof. There's not a good path down that way. So finding a way to get the wire down to the helm was really a challenge. And what I ended up doing was going across that wood piece here. I'll show you. Going across this wood piece here, and then down over to, you can do this backwards, over down this pillar. And up behind here, there's fiberglass, and there's a hole that you can access and pull it across here. And then I needed to expand or cut a hole into this area here, so I could fish a wire down there. So getting from here over to here is a piece of cake, but getting your wire from here down this pillar and behind the helm was very, very difficult. And that's because there's almost really no room to push a wire down here. And then let me open this up. And then the way this goes down, it goes pretty far down, and there's really no room to go through that hole to pull your hand up and pull it down. It's extremely tight. So what I ended up having to do was to cut the power wire that goes down here for my electric opening front window, and use that to fish the Sionyx cable down here, and then use a string to pull that wire back up. And then I needed to cut an access hole there and reach my hand in and pull the wire this way, and then be able to fish it back down there and up through here. Now, once I've got that done, you can see I've got Garmin MFDs, so I'll just toggle over to my video feed, and that's the view of the Sionyx up there in the daytime. It's almost 8 o'clock, nearing July 4th, so we're gonna have light for quite a ways. But there's two ways to connect up your Sionyx to your display. It comes with this BNC cable. So this, the Garmin does have a BNC video connector on the back, so you could go just straight to there. But what I've done to get a little bit better resolution is I've connected it to this HDMI converter. This little guy, and this goes into the HDMI port on the back of the Garmin display. It's the quality is a little bit better. It's not huge. It's still fairly low resolution. It's not the same as like an iPhone. If you did want to have the absolute best resolution for your Sionyx camera, you would use your Wi-Fi to an iPad or an iPhone, and that's a wireless connection that actually gives you the best digital signal. Otherwise, it's still an analog signal. But again, it does that. This is the analog to HDMI signal, and it is pretty good resolution. I can see it. Let me zoom in here a little bit. It is a little bit fuzzy. This isn't so much the how I'm recording. You can see some of the pixels on here, but a little bit of the fuzziness is the actual camera itself. But it's let me compare that a little bit to my other camera that I have. This whole video. Let's see. I can select my source, my Garmin GC20. That's up there. So I don't know if you can see from there, that's looking at my dock. That is noticeably higher resolution for daytime operations than the Sionyx. But in terms of use case, the Sionyx is definitely for night operations, and the Garmin GC200 is for daytime operations. It has a low light capability with some IR illuminators, but those illuminators only shoot out to about 30 feet or so. So it'll kind of help you getting into the dock, but it's really not for navigational purposes like the Sionyx is. In terms of options and configuration of the Nightwave on your Garmin device, there's not a whole lot of options. If I do hit the options button here, this is kind of the standard options on the screen. You got your source. I've got my GC200 and my Nightwave. I'll just leave it on Nightwave. You can freeze. I haven't used that. And then you have video setup. So you can go full screen, which I'm not going to do that right now, but obviously it makes it full screen. You can mirror it. You can rotate it around if you had it mounted upside. This is really if you had it mounted upside down. But some people want to mount it underneath. We'll rotate that back, and then you can either have standard aspect or a stretch aspect to fill it, and that's how I prefer to have it. Now you can see how I've mounted this and I've adjusted the ball. I can see some of the front of my boat here. If I had it mounted further back on the mast, you would see a lot more of that because there's no zoom function. So that was my installation choice. And when I'm running, I have it angled so I can see pretty well right in front of me without having the bow be in the way. So that's an overview of how this installation works on Jennifer B on a Back Cove 37 and connected to a Garmin device. And hope you find that useful. So I'm going to give you an idea of the performance of a Sionyx Nightwave on a boat for both daytime use and for nighttime operations. I'm going to have to do this over some time, obviously, because I'm going to have to wait until it gets dark. But I thought I'd show you kind of how it looks in the different scenarios. So this screen is my Sionyx Nightwave. It's mounted up on the roof of the boat. And just for comparison or point of reference, it's about 8 o'clock on June 28th, so it's still pretty light out. The sunlight is starting to dim a little bit. You can see a little bit out there. The sun's starting to set there, but you still got plenty of light. And obviously you can see pretty well here. There is a little bit of fuzziness. It's not a super crisp image, but that's by design. You can compare that to my Garmin GC200 on this screen, looking at the back, which does have better resolution, but the trade-off is that the night vision is not as good there. All right, folks, so it's 8:45 later in the day, and I wanted to kind of show you where we are in the darkness. So sun's going down. It is cloudy out. This is clouds out here, and it's getting a little bit hard to see. I've got my radar up on this screen. I've got the Sionyx up on this screen. So Sionyx not making too much difference just yet, but I kind of pulled it up. There was a buoy I went by a couple minutes ago that I thought, it's getting hard to see them. Let me pull it up on the Nightwave. So we'll check back again when it's a little bit darker. All right, this is just a few minutes later than the last video, and I've turned. I'm going pretty much into the sunset, so it's still a little bit dark here. It feels darker than my camera showing here, but the Sionyx does feel like it's a lot brighter than what I'm seeing out my front windshield. And right now it's still not 9 o'clock yet, but I'm headed towards one of my local harbors, and I can still see, zoom in a little bit, I can still see the harbor entrance, and I've got it lined up here with my track, but just to kind of show you how it looks on the Sionyx at about 9 o'clock in late June. Not really too much help yet, or a big difference. And actually, I just want to show you this. Just after that, a few seconds after that last video, the Sionyx kicked over to night vision mode. So you can see those hills are pretty dark to the naked eye. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's more what it actually looks like. And the Sionyx the night vision mode just kicked in. So the trees are looking kind of purple. That's characteristic of how this looks. But this just became a heck of a lot more useful. So I'm still going to run around out here for a while. I'm going to buzz around, just kind of mosey through the harbor in here, and then we'll wait for it to get darker to do some more comparisons. Here's something else I just spotted. So over there's some kayakers that are getting pretty hard to see, but on the Sionyx, I'm picking them up pretty well. Okay, so now it's just a bit after 9, and it's starting to feel pretty dark here. It feels much darker than I can see on the camera. The camera makes it look brighter, so I want to note something. That's a buoy right there. It's over there, but with my naked eye, I really cannot see that. So I'm kind of just moving slowly through the harbor, and the Nightwave is really making a huge difference for me. A minute ago, there was a dinghy that crossed my path going this way with no lights on, and I could barely make it out. I saw it first on the Nightwave, and then I saw them going across down the fairway. Here's another marker right there, a no wake marker. There it is, but with my naked eye, it's very difficult to make out. It feels much darker than the camera seems to be showing right now. And again, here's another buoy right there. That's much easier to pick out on the Sionyx. So we're looking at about 9:10 right now, and I just want to call something out. You see this really big light right here? That's this asshole with this boat with this huge set of lights on top, which is just pretty much killing my night vision. So don't do that. Oh, you just turn them off and now they're back on. Don't do that. If you do that, you're being an asshole. Stop it. So it is now almost 10 o'clock, and I'm exiting the harbor I was in. And you can see it's really dark out. That's the channel lights over there. You can kind of see where I am. And the Nightwave is very bright. Now I gotta just actually pay attention to what I'm doing here for a minute. And you can see out there, you can see that jetty pile very clearly, but I cannot see that at all with the naked eye. But you know, it's very clear. Now this actually seems brighter because of the camera, my iPhone, but I have it turned down so it doesn't blind me, but it actually is very usable. So we're going to run out here for a little bit and see what it looks like when we're away from any shore lights. Okay, so it's still just about 10 o'clock, and I'm headed north, pretty much towards, that's Connecticut up there. I don't know if you can see any lights. Yeah, there's some lights in Connecticut up there, and I think that's picking up some of the lights, and I can see a little bit of light on the sky, kind of a gray sky with my naked eye. I can just kind of make out just barely make out where the sky meets the water. And there are some shore lights out there. But if I turn west, that's going to be towards the open part, east, towards the end of Long Island. That's going to be open water, and there's going to be no shore lights over there. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen as I do that. Now I'm slowly making my turn. Want to keep an eye on where I am. Yep, so that's basically dark out there. I really can't see anything, but with the Nightwave, I've got a pretty clear view of what's ahead of me. I feel pretty comfortable what's there, even though this brightness is turned down. And I'll show you the brightness. It's at 30%, so that's fairly dim. But it's given me a good view of what's ahead. And you might have noticed I swapped the screens back and forth. I put the Nightwave back on this screen because I felt a little more comfortable with it on there, having the video right in front of me. Now, as I'm running along here, now it occurred to me it might be useful to show a difference between the Nightwave and the Garmin. So I'm going to just flip over here, and I'm on autopilot just to hold my course, and I got my radar up, so I'm not, and I got my eyes up as I'm doing this. So if I change that, so the GC200 has some infrared emitters on it, which will show you light up the back a bit, but this is really not getting any further than just my wake, which is, you know how far that is. So you're not seeing a whole lot, but if I flip back there, you're seeing pretty far ahead of me. I've got a nice clear view of the water. All right, as I approach my harbor entrance, I wanted to slow down here and show you the color capabilities. So you can see the red and the green flashing lights on top of the channel markers. So that's really handy, that you can definitely distinguish that on the Nightwave. All right, I'm coming back into my harbor now, and it's very dark. Again, the camera is showing the light to be much more than there really is by eye. But what it's really, the Sionyx is showing me, is I can pick up my channel markers. It's really helping me pick up those markers so I can navigate back into my channel. It's with the glass in front of me, a little bit of salt spray, I really cannot see that marker with the naked eye. It's picking it up on the camera, but that's really not true to life to what I'm seeing out here. Now this is an area where I think the Sionyx is a huge help. I'm coming back into my harbor, and there are, I'm going through a mooring field, and there are a lot of boats and moorings in here that are just hard to see with the naked eye, especially against the shore lights that you can see in the image here. So again, it's harder to see than the iPhone is really showing, but I can pick them up really nicely with the Nightwave. This has really helped me a lot, and giving me a lot more confidence to come back in to my slip at night. Okay, I've got Jennifer B back in her slip and all tied up, and just wanted to give some kind of final thoughts on the Sionyx Nightwave. This is the first time I've been out with it at night. I've used it just basically at the dock, but this is my first night run, and I'm really pretty happy with the performance of it. Is it a perfect system? No, it's not. But the next closest competitor in a FLIR type system is going to be about triple the price for something that is maybe as good. If you want something that is going to be really incredible, you're going to have to go with a FLIR system that is about $20,000, and that's just putting things out of the range of most boaters. But for the practical application of making boaters safer at night, making you as a boater safer at night, being able to enjoy your boat for longer, getting confidence as another tool to be able to navigate safely home. And I'm big on safety. You can see I'm wearing my inflatable life jacket because I'm boating by myself. I've got my radio in case something happens. I've got it clipped here. I believe in safety on the water. So for the Nightwave, to be able to give boaters the ability to use their boat more at night, go out with their family, be able to navigate home more safely, especially near shore, where you're picking out lobster pots or coming in through a mooring field like I did, and see the darkened boats, the darkened buoys, being able to pick out navigational aids that may be unlit, like I have a lot in my harbor. I think this is a fantastic tool, particularly if you're pairing it up with a navigation system like the Garmin that I have, using the radar as well. You know, all these things combined to make your boating experience safer. And you know, for the price point that the Sionyx Nightwave is at right now, it's around $1,900 or so. When I got mine last year, it was a little bit less, but I think it's really got good bang for the buck, and it's definitely worth investing in if you're thinking about this system. So that wraps it up, my thoughts on the Sionyx Nightwave. Until next time, be safe.